Why would that help?
Because you want to be more popular and people like parties, and it shows it's like a display of power in that you are a boss, so you can do things like make the decision to throw a party big enough.
So that would gain you, perhaps, popularity. But would that grant you respect?
Perhaps. I mean, you could do the opposite and instead fire somebody, and then that would gain you, maybe it would gain you some respect, except that they might hate you more, so then you'd be even less popular, and then where does that get you?
So, how could you do both? Because again, if you do a party,
A going away party for someone you fired.
You also have to like seek out a situation that would grant you some sort of respect. It's kind of hard to like create, like you could create a situation that would make everyone be like, and you act upon that situation that you created.
Yep.
And everyone's like, oh, this guy's actually pretty good. So you could like almost create or craft your own situation that causes people to change their perception.
yeah, that is the essential part of both of the two strategies that I think are viable. You want to create a situation where your power and your popularity are evident to the people who you are working with. The first way I think you can do that is you take two people, you take half of the group, you want to divide them, and you make clear difference between them. So you give one of them, say, a longer break than the other ones. It's just very subtle. You don't want to explicitly give them something that where the other one will know and then will feel badly towards you. So we want to divide and conquer. You want them to be fighting against each other so that they can't fight against you. So, anyone want to take a crack at what a good way to do that would be? The next steps?
Office politics. So basically, if I was a middle manager and I had a manager and he had a manager, and there were multiple levels of higher managers, not like the middle manager, you could go through and start, not like talking shit, but like, how do you say? Like, I kind of dealt with this a couple of ways. But yeah, so you go through and you talk to one of the middle managers, because there's always conflict between each of those managers, so you go through talking to them. You talk to the subordinates of one of the managers who's not like popular, and you would try to get them to move towards like another manager, so it's a hop ship to another manager. And then, so I dealt with something like this with Squid for a little bit. So you try to make them move to a different manager. And then from there you go through and talk to the other manager who's not as popular and basically try to get a collective, I don't know really what I'm saying, but anyway, it's playing social manipulation. That way you increase your potential popularity among some people, but you still create someone even shittier, I guess. So you don't want to be the shittiest person.
I take a crack at it.
Yeah, sure.
So, supposing you have them divided and they're both angry at each other,
Yeah.
from there on you sort of want to influence them to think that not only are you in control, but also you're there to help them, so they always
Yep.
now they like you,
Exactly.
as well as they're like, he's going to go to it for power and for decision making.
Yep. In public, you would enforce fairness. You would say, I didn't do this, and you guys should stop fighting. But then in private, you say, you guys actually did deserve this. And bear in mind, this is not a absolutely correct answer. I'm just kind of making this up. This is what I thought would be the best way to do.
I think a good example of this is sales teams. Because in public, you can use metrics to be able to show who is doing better than other people in a generally understood to be fair way, right? How many customers and how many dollars in sales did you make? But in private, and in reality, a lot of people know that it's variable month to month. So you can easily make like a division between, hey, you guys did more sales or less sales, and then dole out like prizes as a result, and then give favors, like direction to specific clients who are more likely to give a prize, or like more recurring business. Be able to get people to come to you for help in getting more business for the express purpose of competing with their fellow salespeople as opposed to taking their power.
Yep, exactly, yeah. I mean, divide and conquer is a very far-reaching strategy in politics, not only in the office, but in war, pretty much in the government, in managing governments.
Also solve the Rubik's cubes.
But
It's an algorithm to solve the Rubik's cubes as well.
divide and conquer,
Yeah.
Also StarCraft.
yep, war, exactly.
Oh, it's kind of like in House of Cards, the very last. Did you watch House of Cards?
Yes, of course.
Don't,
Yeah.
don't spoil it.
So people who know, no, never mind that.
Don't spoil it.
That's not even-
I can instead give you this example. Throw a party, but only for the good half. And invite them in like this nonchalant way of like handing out envelopes that say not a party.
Not a party.
Adam in public is sounding fair by not spoiling it, but in private he'll come back to you and like, hey, did you see it? This is what I meant. Give favors.
Yep. And I think the other option is to try to get promoted yourself by kind of close to what Ray said, where you try to hop across your manager and to his manager,
Escape the fire.
and you just try to and you can either, I think one of the better approaches, but hard to execute in practice, would be to create a huge problem of some sort with your manager's manager, just like a giant storm of just crap. And then, but you have to have it so that you're the only person who can fix it. You have to put yourself in a position to be literally the only person with the vaccine to whatever his disease is. And gain immense favor. And then obviously you always have the corollary of a smear campaign against your own manager, against your manager, so that he gets fired. And if you have enough favor with the people who get to make that hiring decision, then you can get promoted and hopefully not have to deal with the people who are disrespecting you anymore. But
Or you can maybe control the HR person that determines whether or not you're popular or not. So that your employees' perception of you as being unpopular never makes up the chain so that you get fired. So you eliminate the fire.
I like this fire metaphor.
Fire burning inside all of us. And our malevolent selves.
Clearly.
And then so there is a very distinct interaction between the traits of Machiavellianism and the other two sides of the Dark Triangle. So if you just think about it, even if you're a good person, so you wouldn't necessarily want to use the strategies that you could come up with by thinking in a Machiavellian way. And so that's where the psychopathy will come in, where people who have both of those traits don't feel any guilt, they don't feel any remorse towards acting immorally. And you can see how that would be an advantage against people who have a sense of right and wrong. Where if you're a psychopath, you literally don't get that emotion that people have to suppress when you're doing something wrong. So, big advantage there. Advantage, I guess. It has lots of drawbacks, obviously. But then you have narcissism, where, believing that you're the best person in the world. Essentially very useful for rationalization, where the psychopath may question, if you're only a psychopath and a Machiavellian, you may question, why am I doing this? Is this even worth doing? Whereas if you have the third trait, narcissism, you'll never question that. You'll always absolutely know that because you're better than everyone else, you should be ahead of everyone else. And if you combine that with just psychopathy and Machiavellianism, you can see how that will grant you a very clear path towards getting exactly what you want. And then just a few more random things. Like all strategies, Machiavellianism is amoral. It is not good or bad in its own right. It just is. There is no it is all dependent on how the strategy is being used. Machiavellianism is only a way at looking at the world. Although many of the outcomes of Machiavellianism are immoral, the strategy itself is not. And then the second thing, you can't not play the game of power. There are always going to be people who view it as a game, and just by denying that there is no game, that doesn't mean that you're beating them. It just means that you're ignoring what's actually going on around you. It's like the Matrix, essentially, where you're not living in the real world. You have to take the red pill in order to actually be successful. And then you can get tested. I forgot to add this. But there's two tests you can do. The first one is all the dark triad personalities in general, and the second one is Machiavellianism specifically. These are pretty fun. It only takes like 5 minutes. There's like 20 questions for each of them, I think, and they're really quick to answer. But yeah, and then it'll like compare you against everyone else who's taking the test, so you can see exactly like what your percentile is for each one. It's very entertaining, actually. Just like tweak the answers and see which ones. But yeah, more resources are the two Robert Greene books. The Art of Worldly Wisdom is, I don't remember who wrote it, but all the other ones are very good. Obviously, The Prince by Niccolo Machiavelli, who is the namesake of the entire thing. Should have added The Art of War and The Art of War. So The Art of War by Sun Tzu and The Art of War by Machiavelli are both good books to have in this. And then there's another website. Questions? Okay, well, I guess we'll do questions first, and then I'll show you the website with the.
We should totally collectively take the Machiavellian test. That'd be great.
Can I like not do that?
Yeah.
You can't not play the game, man.
I just don't want to know.
Oh, it's an open source. Oh man, we're great.
This is great.
Oh boy.
Also not SSL.
Oh. We need to put a wall between like Jim and I and have us take it.
Oh my god.
Uh,
This would be great.
Disagree.